Hi, this is Barbara from Second Wind EB-5, and in today's video, we're going to talk about the topic, how do regional centers making sure that jobs are created in EB-5 program. We're going to do it together with Jordan Lawrence, who is the operational director of the regional center based in Houston, Texas, and he will help us to understand what is the regional center role in making sure that the jobs are created. Jordan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So before we go into main question, Jordan, how is the regional center actually estimating the number of jobs which this or that project would create?
Yeah, great question. So projects have costs, and costs can create jobs. Now, in the EB-5 program, there's really two categories of job creation. There's the direct category, and then the induced and indirect category. Now, the direct category, that's W-2 full-time employees that you're hiring, keeping on payroll, typically for a period of 2 years at least. And then the direct and indirect jobs that are created are based upon expenditures in the project. And essentially, when you're putting an EB-5 offering together, when you submit the 956F, which you could think of as a project exemplar, you're basically showcasing the project to the USCIS, you include what's called an economic report in that filing. And the economic report is produced by the economist after you give him or her all the expenditures on the project, everything from steel, concrete, masonry, subcontractors, architecture, legal work, interest fees, any cost associated with the project you give to the economist. And then they'll use economic multipliers and produce this economic report that shows all the amount of indirect and induced jobs that are proposed to be created based upon expenditures in the project. And EB-5 investors get to benefit in all of the creation from the fund of the project, not just where their EB-5 dollars were spent. Now, best practice is to use the EB-5 dollars on eligible expenses, but the advantage is you get to count all the jobs that were created with every single dollar in the project.
So let's say if the project requires 100 millions of US dollars and the EB-5 funding is just $30 million in this project, the EB-5 investors would be entitled for jobs created by spending of all $100 million in the project. Is that right?
Correct. If there are jobs associated with that, there are certain jobs that aren't created due to specific expenditures like buying land. There are no jobs created from that. But there are certain items that are going to be paid for by the project, not from EB-5 dollars. And if those line items have eligible jobs created from them, well, then the EB-5 investors get to benefit from that. So long answer to your short question is not every dollar creates jobs, but the dollars that do, even if it wasn't EB-5 funds that were spent, they get to count those jobs.
Okay, great. So this estimation is actually happening at the moment you choose the project, you prepare the project documentation for US CIS. After that, you raise the funds from investors from all over the world. And once the investors invested their funds, what's happening after? And when regional center have to show that the jobs are created?
Yeah, that's at the I-829 stage. So the petition by the investor to remove the conditions on their residency status. And what is probably best practice is for regional centers to have third-party fund administrators engaged on the project from the beginning. And these third-party fund administrators sign off on all EB-5 disbursement requests. So they're signing off that the EB-5 funds are being spent on eligible expenses, keeping track of all the jobs that are created from said expenses. And on third-party fund administrators like the one we work with, they usually have accounting for all expenses on the project. So then you're able to have live job creation accounting. So if $100 million project and maybe you've spent 25 million so far, so you're a quarter way done, it would probably show that a quarter of the proposed jobs have already been created. So by having a third party fund administrator, a very detailed accounting team to have all the respective EB-5 disbursement requests as well as the construction draws for non-EB-5 is best practice to being prepared for that I-829 stage so that when we work with the attorney and the investor, we have all the needed job creation evidence to include with that petition.
So basically, from your side, you're providing all required documentation, paperwork to prove that the jobs were created to immigration attorney and immigration attorney at the stage of I-829 petition, filed together with documents provided by investors to USCIS. And if USCIS approve this request, then investor and his family members are getting actually permanent green cards as a result of participating in the EB-5 program.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. I think it was a short and clear explanation on how the regional center do track creation of the jobs for investors. Thank you so much, Jordan.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for the questions. They're very, very good questions.
Thank you. And if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about the EB-5 program, please check our previous videos, hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you.